Kawagushi Manufacturing Sdn Bhd is a Malaysian-based company specializing in plastic manufacturing that established on November 18, 1992. The company headquarters is at Pelabuhan Kelang Selangor, Malaysia, and they focus on producing high-quality molded plastic components and serving international clients such as Panasonic and Sony. The issue happened in November 2024, where the factory workers have filed claims over 18,000 ringgit against their company for multiple violations such as unpaid wages and unauthorized deduction. The workers claim that they did not receive any salary since May, where it leads to the foreign workers' mistreatment.
We're looking at is the effectiveness of the Department of Labour (JTKSM). The issue across from Kawaguchi Manufacturing, where the company owes above 800,000 ringgit to 57 workers in unpaid salaries and also unauthorized levy deduction. Some workers went unpaid for up to 6 months from May onwards, despite law protecting their rights. This raises a serious concern. Why did it take months of delays and even strike for the JTKSM to act? As the body responsible for enforcing labour laws, this slow response suggests weakness in the system. Workers who should feel protected end up losing faith in the government's ability to resolve this problem. So this create a domino effect, a loss of trust, not just among workers but also among employers and investors who expect a fair, reliable system. Addressing these delays is critical to restoring confidence and also ensuring Malaysia's labour market remains stable and fair. So the second implication is the impact on labour market stability. Unresolved disputes like the unpaid wages and mistreatment at Kawaguchi Manufacturing are the major threat to the stability of Malaysia's workforce. So when issue like this happen, it often leads to strikes, work stoppages, or even protests. These actions don't just affect the workers involved; they also create a ripple effect throughout the economy, especially in the key export industries like manufacturing and also electronics. For instance, industries like electronics and automotive depend on just-in-time supply chain, meaning even a small delay in production can disrupt exports. And when exports slow down, it doesn't just hurt revenue; it also can tarnish Malaysia's reputation as a reliable trading partner on the global stage. In the long term, such instability can make companies hesitate to invest, leading to fewer job opportunities and also slower economic growth. So that's why resolving labor disputes quickly and fairly is so critical to keeping up Malaysia's labor market stable and competitive. So the next implication is increased government spending. Unresolved industry disputes like the one seen in the case of Kawaguchi Manufacturing can push the government to step in the financial aid to affected workers. So the government may have to provide bantuan kewangan or unemployment support, particularly for foreign workers who may have lost their income. This measure help mitigate to social economic impact but also add the government financial burden. Furthermore, retraining programs become necessary to assist unemployed workers in acquiring new skills and finding alternative employment. While these programs are important for worker welfare, they require substantial funds, thus adding pressure to the national budget. So, as a result, the government ends up spending significant resources just to prevent further social economic harm caused by industry disputes, so which could ultimately affect the country's financial stability.
Okay, next I will touch about implication to Malaysian industry relation at industrial level. And first one is government policy. First, weak enforcement of labor laws. Despite Malaysia Employment Act 1955 mandating timely wage payment and prohibiting unauthorized deductions, enforcement has been inadequate, allowing companies like Kawaguchi to violate regulation. Number two is gap in migrant workers protection. Retention of passport and non-payment of wage suggest insufficient government oversight of employers' treatment of migrant workers, a frequent issue in Malaysian labour incentive industries. Third one is forced labour allegations. Practices uncovered at Kawagushi, such as withholding wages and passport, align with forced labor indicator under International Labour Organization (ILO) standards. This reflects a failure to ensure compliance with international labour obligations. Alright, for the next implication is public perception. First, negative perception of the manufacturing sector. Cases like Kawagushi reinforce public concern about unethical practices in Malaysia manufacturing sector, particularly towards migrant workers. This also can affect the global criticism as supplier to global brands like Sony and Panasonic. Such incident damage Malaysia's international reputation, potentially discouraging foreign investment. And this also can erosion of trust in authorities. The public may perceive the government as ineffective in protecting workers, reducing confidence in its commitment to labour rights.
And the last implication at industrial level is strained employer-employee relations. When disputes such as those involving wage areas occur, the end result is the loss of confidence between employees and employers. Workers will feel let down and betrayed, which in turn upsets morale and productivity. Dissatisfaction increases the likelihood of grievance and complaints too, which raises tension in workplace interactions. These disputes may build up to higher levels as unions join in and negotiations become rigid with more adversarial argumentations. Over time, this tension leads to increased employee turnover and harms the company's reputation as an employer. If allowed to persist, it becomes a vicious cycle of distrust that will totally disrupt industrial harmony. Next is implication at organizational level, which is disruption of company policies and procedures. Wage areas disputes at Kawaguchi Manufacturing Sdn Bhd might turn out to be a sufficient case for shaking company policies and procedures to their core. This would expose the weak points in payroll management, grievance handling, and observation of labor laws that will probably push the company toward reviewing and revising internal policy. Against this, the management has to establish stricter procedures so that every employee is paid correctly on time. More importantly, it may also encourage the corresponding regulatory authorities to apply pressures on the firm to practice certain labor laws, leading to altering operation policy changes. If unresolved, the dispute could also hamper the efficiency of the company's policy, as this may be considered unfair by the employees or less than adequate, thereby making it difficult to enforce workplace rules and maintain a disciplined environment.
The second implication at organizational level is financial implication. If Kawaguchi is proven guilty, they will need to pay X106,310 ringgit in unpaid wage along with penalties, bad debt wage and damage for breach of contract. This will place significant strain on the company finance. Additionally, major clients like Sony, Panasonic and Daikin have already suspended their contract. If this client withdraw permanently, Kawaguchi will face a substantial loss of revenue, which could lead to insolvency. Furthermore, due to negative publicity, the company may need to invest more in recruitment efforts and employee benefits to attract new workers, adding to its financial burden. Next, I will highlight the operational challenge. The removal of molds and equipment by Japanese clients has severely disrupted productions, which could result in delay or cancel order and further revenue losses. Additionally, the allegations have led to worker strikes, and the possibility of high employee turnover could make it harder for Kawaguchi to meet production demands. Finally, low staff morale is a serious concern. Employees are likely feeling demotivated and distrustful, which can reduce productivity, increase absenteeism, and create safety risks in the workplace. So that's all from me. Thank you.
The Kawagushi Sdn Bhd highlights some critical issues in labor practices within manufacturing sector in Malaysia. Despite its reputation in produce high-quality plastic components for international clients, the recent legal challenges emphasize the importance of compliance with wage regulations and ethical labor practices. So this issue can be as a reminder for companies to balance their operation efficiently with social responsibility so that they can foster an equitable and fair working environment.